Good morning. This is Sumana, working as Assistant Professor at Department of Biochemistry, Government City College, Nayapur, Hyderabad. Today's our topic is enzyme inhibition. What is the meaning of inhibition? Prevent or stop. How the enzymes will be prevented or stop to do the reaction we'll discuss in detail. See, what is enzyme inhibition? Enzyme inhibitor is defined as a substance which binds with the enzyme and brings about a decrease in catalytic activity of that enzyme. It means it is decreasing the catalytic activity of the enzyme, that is inhibitor. And the inhibitor may be organic or inorganic in nature. What is the meaning of organic is that the hydrocarbons wherever are there, that is called organic, and inorganic, it may be inorganic in nature. And there are three broad categories of enzyme inhibitions are there. Those are reversible inhibition, irreversible inhibition, and allosteric inhibition. What is the meaning of reversible inhibition is that whenever if you are removing the inhibitor, then the reaction will be reversed so that the reaction can occur. And in the irreversible reaction, even if you are removing the inhibitor, there is a structural change occurs in the enzyme so that the enzyme cannot participate in the reaction. And allosteric inhibition is nothing but the end product will inhibit the reaction, that is called allosteric inhibition. All these inhibitions we'll discuss in detail. First is reversible inhibition. The inhibitor binds non-covalently. What is the meaning of non-covalently is that it is not forming the bond by sharing a bond. What is a covalent bond? When the bond is formed by sharing of electrons is called covalent bond. But here in the reversible inhibition, the inhibitor binds non-covalently with the enzyme, and the enzyme inhibition can be reversed if the inhibitor is removed. If you are removing the inhibitor, the reaction can proceed. And this reversible inhibition is further subdivided into two, that is competitive inhibition and other is non-competitive inhibition. In competitive inhibition, the inhibitor which closely resembles the real substrate is regarded as substrate analog. Here the inhibitor structure is similar to the or identical, almost similar to the substrate, so that it can compete for the active site to bind with the enzyme. The inhibitor competes with the substrate and binds at the active site of the enzyme but does not undergo any change. See what happens if only substrate binds at the active site, then the reaction occurs, then product will get formed. But if the inhibitor is binding at the active site, there is no catalysis at all. And as long as competitive inhibitor holds the active site, the enzyme is not available for the substrate to bind. Whenever the inhibitor is at the active site, it is unavailable for the substrate to bind. And during this reaction, the ES, that is enzyme substrate, and EI, enzyme inhibitor complexes are formed as shown. See, this is the enzyme, and if it is reacting with the substrate, it will form the enzyme substrate complex, then it will give the product. Suppose if it is the enzyme is binding with the inhibitor, then it will form the enzyme inhibitor complex and there is no product formation at all. Here you can see in the diagram is that, see, this is the substrate and this is inhibitor. This is the active site of the, this is enzyme, and the both substrate and inhibitor are almost similar in structure so that it can easily bind at the active site. Suppose the substrate is binding at the active site, then the reaction will occur so that product will get formed. And if the inhibitor is binding, here enzyme inhibitor complex is formed, and here there is no place at all for the substrate to bind with the enzyme. Okay, then there is no reaction at all. And the relative concentration of the substrate and inhibitor, and their respective affinity with the enzyme determines the degree of competitive inhibition. And the inhibition could be overcome by a high substrate concentration. And what happens in the competitive inhibition with regard to Km and Vmax is that Km value will increase whereas Vmax will remains unchanged. And if you are see, suppose the concentration of the substrate is more, then it will compete with the inhibitor to bind with the active site so that the reaction will occur. Suppose the concentration of the substrate is low, then it cannot compete, so that all the inhibitors will be bind to the active site of the enzyme. There is no reaction at all. Here if you see in the diagram, see what is a Km actually? Km is nothing but substrate concentration at off Vmax. See, when the Vmax is reached, if you draw the off Vmax, if you are plotting the graph on the substrate concentration, the substrate concentration at off Vmax is called Km. And if you are seeing in the graph this pink color, that is in the presence of inhibitor, the Km value is increased. Actually, this blue color line is in the absence of inhibitor, the Vmax is unchanged. Even with the presence of inhibitor or absence of inhibitor, Vmax is same, that is unchanged. But when you considering the Km, that is substrate concentration at half Vmax, the Km is increasing in the presence of inhibitor. Here you can see this is the actual Km in the absence of inhibitor, and this is the Km in the presence of inhibitor, which is increased. And if you draw the Lineweaver-Burk plot, this is unchanged half Vmax, and when it comes to the negative side, this is in the presence of inhibitor and this is in the absence of inhibitor. It means the Km value is increasing and the Vmax is unchanging in the competitive inhibition. An example for the competitive inhibition is that the enzyme succinate dehydrogenase. Succinate dehydrogenase is a classical example of competitive inhibition with succinic acid as its substrate. For the succinate dehydrogenase enzyme, the substrate is succinic acid. And what are the inhibitors will act as inhibitors for the succinate dehydrogenase are, see here if you see the structure of succinic acid, there are two carboxylic groups are present, COH. Two COH are present, and in the succinic acid total 4 carbons are there. 1, 2, 3 and 4 carbons are there. And if you see this malonic acid, there are similar 2 carboxylic group are there, but the total number of carbons are 3, and it can act as inhibitor for the succinate dehydrogenase enzyme. And other compounds like glutaric acid. Glutaric acid also consisting of 2 carboxylic acid with 5 carbons, and oxalic acid is also having 2 carboxylic group with 6 carbon compounds. So that all these are structurally similar with the succinic acid, as all these compounds are consisting of 2 carboxylic groups, so that these molecules are compete with the succinic acid to bind with the succinate dehydrogenase enzyme. And this other example is that methanol. Methanol is toxic to the body when it is converted to the formaldehyde by the enzyme alcohol dehydrogenase. And ethanol can compete with the methanol for ADH, that is alcohol dehydrogenase. Thus, the ethanol can be used in the treatment of methanol poisoning. See, when anybody consumes the methanol will convert into formaldehyde, which is toxic to the body. So, to avoid or to treat the methanol poisoning, ethanol will be used. How it will be used? See, suppose ethanol is there, methanol is there. For this enzyme, that is ADH, that is alcohol dehydrogenase. if this methanol is reacting with or binding with the alcohol dehydrogenase, it will convert into formaldehyde, which is toxic to the body. So to avoid this poison, that is in the treatment of methanol poisoning, ethanol will be injected into the body so that this ethanol binds with the ADH, that is alcohol dehydrogenase. So the free enzyme is not available for the methanol to bind. So there is no formation of formaldehyde at all. So for the treatment of methanol poisoning, ethanol is used. And other concept is antimetabolites. These are the chemical compounds that block the metabolic reactions by their inhibitory action on enzymes. Antimetabolites are usually structural analogues of substrate and thus are competitive inhibitors, and they are used for cancer therapy and for the treatment of gout also. And the term antivitamins is used for the antimetabolites which blocks the biochemical action of vitamins causing deficiencies. Example, that is sulfonilamide, dicumarol, etc. And here we'll see the examples for the antimetabolites, that is competitive inhibitors. See, the enzyme is xanthine oxidase. This is the enzyme. For xanthine oxidase, the substrate is hypoxanthine and xanthine. For this enzyme, the allopurinol is used as inhibitor for xanthine oxidase. And what is the significance of this allopurinol is that this is used in the control of gout to reduce excess production of uric acid from the hypoxanthine. See, whenever the allopurinol is there in the body, this hypoxanthine cannot bind with the xanthine oxidase, so that it cannot produce the uric acid which is responsible for the disease gout. And the other enzyme is monoamine oxidase. For this, the substrate is catecholamides, that is epinephrine and norepinephrine. For this enzyme, the inhibitor is ephedrine and amphetamine. These are useful for elevating the catecholamine levels. Next is dihydrofolate reductase enzyme. For this, the substrate is dihydrofolic acid, and the inhibitors are aminopterin, methotrexate. These inhibitors are employed in the treatment of leukemia and other cancers. Next is acetylcholine esterase. For this enzyme, the substrate is acetylcholine and the inhibitor is succinylcholine. And this succinylcholine is used in the surgery for muscle relaxation in anesthetized patients. Next is dihydrooctanoate synthase. For this, the PABA is the substrate, that is para-aminobenzoic acid. For this, the inhibitor is sulfonilamide, and this sulfonilamide will prevent the bacterial synthesis of folic acid. Next is vitamin K epoxide reductase. For this enzyme, the substrate is vitamin K and the inhibitor is dicumarol, which can act as an anticoagulant. Next is HMG-CoA reductase. The substrate is HMG-CoA and the inhibitors are lovastatin or campectin, which will inhibit the cholesterol biosynthesis. Because this HMG-CoA is the substrate from which the cholesterol synthesis occurs. So by binding with the enzyme HMG-CoA reductase, this lovastatin and campectin will inhibit the cholesterol synthesis. Next is non-competitive inhibition. See, if you considering the competitive inhibition, there is only a single site, that is active site, at where both inhibitor and substrate are competing to bind. But when it comes to the non-competitive inhibition, there is the other site other than the active site at which the inhibitor will bind. So there are two sites in the non-competitive inhibition. One is for substrate and one is for inhibitor binding. The inhibitor binds at a site other than the active site on the enzyme surface, and this binding impairs the enzyme function, and this inhibitor has no structural resemblance with the substrate in the non-competitive inhibition. However, there usually exists a strong affinity for the inhibitor to bind at the second site. In fact, the inhibitor does not interfere with the enzyme substrate binding, but the catalysis is prevented, possibly due to distortion in the enzyme conformation. While seeing the diagram, you can understand this concept. And the inhibitor generally binds with the enzyme as well as enzyme substrate complex, and the overall reaction, if you see here, this is the enzyme is binding with the substrate and forming the enzyme substrate complex, then it will give the enzyme and product. And when the inhibitor is coming, the inhibitor is able to bind even with the free enzyme and also with the enzyme substrate complex. When the enzyme inhibitor binds with the enzyme, it will form enzyme inhibitor complex. To this enzyme inhibitor complex, the substrate cannot bind because it will modify the active site structure, so that the substrate cannot bind with the enzyme. And to the enzyme substrate complex also, this inhibitor can bind and forms the enzyme inhibitor substrate complex. And when it regarding Km and Vmax, how it will be changing is that the Km value is unchanged and Vmax is lowered, that is the velocity of the reaction is decreasing and there is no substrate concentration, that is Km is unchanged. Here if you see, this is the enzyme, this is the active site for the substrate binding, this is the other site for the inhibitor binding. Here suppose the inhibitor has the more affinity for the binding of the other site. So when the inhibitor is binding with the enzyme, here if you see this active site, there is a change in the nature of the active site, so that the substrate cannot bind with the active site of the enzyme after binding of the inhibitor at the other site of the enzyme. Okay, and when it comes to the graph, is see this Km is unchanging even in the presence of inhibitor or absence of inhibitor. The Kmax is same, but the Vmax is changing. See, if you see in the presence of inhibitor, the Vmax is lowered, that is it is decreased, and with absence of inhibitor the Vmax is more. And if you see in the Lineweaver-Burk plot, the Km is same, that is 1 by Km, and Vmax is changing. 1 by Vmax is changing. Vmax is decreasing in the non-competitive inhibition. And the example for the non-competitive inhibition are that heavy metal ions like Ag, that is silver, lead or mercury, Ag, Pb or Hg, can non-competitively inhibit the enzymes by binding with cysteine sulfohydryl groups. See, these cysteine sulfohydryl groups are present at the active site of the enzyme. So, see, this is the enzyme which has the sulfhydryl group, that is cysteine sulfhydryl group. So that when mercury is binding with the enzyme, it's forming the complex, so that the active site is unable to bind with the substrate. And these heavy metals also lead to the formation of covalent bonds with the carboxylic groups and histidine, often resulting in the irreversible inhibition. What happens in the irreversible reaction inhibition? Even if you are removing the inhibitor, the reaction cannot proceed. Next concept is irreversible inhibition. The inhibitors bind covalently with the enzymes and inactivate them, which is irreversible. And these inhibitors are usually toxic substances that poison enzymes. Examples are that Iodoacetate is an irreversible inhibitor of the enzymes like papain and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase. This iodoacetate combines with the sulfhydryl, that is SH group, at the active site of papain and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase and makes them inactive. And the other example is that diisopropyl fluorophosphate, that is DFP, is a nerve gas which is developed by the Germans during the Second World War. And how this gas affect that? This DFE irreversibly binds with the enzyme containing serine at the active site. And the examples for this serine at the active site are that serine proteases, acetylcholine esterase are the enzymes which has the serine at the active site. Next, many organophosphorus insecticides like malathion are toxic to animals including man, as they block the activity of the acetylcholine esterase, which is essential for the nerve conduction, resulting in the paralysis of vital body functions. And other one is disulfiram, which is also called antabuse, is a drug used in the treatment of alcoholism, and it irreversibly inhibits the enzyme aldehyde dehydrogenase. And these alcohol addicts, when treated with the disulfiram, become sick due to the accumulation of the acetaldehyde, leading to alcohol avoidance. See what happens, how this disulfiram acts as that. See, when the alcoholic persons, that is alcohol addicts, when they consume the ethanol, this ethanol is converted into acetaldehyde. After this acetaldehyde, it will convert into acetic acid. Okay, acetic acid, and this acetaldehyde is converted into acetic acid with the enzyme aldehyde dehydrogenase. When this disulfiram is used, this will bind with the aldehyde dehydrogenase enzyme, so that this acetaldehyde cannot convert into acetic acid, so that this acetaldehyde is accumulated in the body, which is toxic to the body, so that these alcohol addicts avoid the alcohol because of accumulation of acetaldehyde in the body. And the other example is that penicillin antibiotics, which acts as irreversible inhibitors of serine containing enzymes and block the bacterial cell wall synthesis. Next is cyanide inhibits the cytochrome oxidase, which binds to iron atom of electron transport chain. And fluoride inhibits the enolase by removing the manganese, and thus glycolysis is prevented. Next, other concept is suicide inhibition. Suicide inhibition is a specialized form of irreversible inhibition. In this case, what happens is that the original inhibitor, that is the structural analog or competitive inhibitor, is converted to a more potent form by the same enzyme that ought to be inhibited. The so formed inhibitor binds irreversibly with the enzyme, and this is in contrast to the original inhibitor which binds reversibly. A good example for the suicide inhibition is allopurinol, which is used in the treatment of gout. How this allopurinol act in the body is that, which is an inhibitor of xanthine oxidase, gets converted into alloxanthine. Allopurinol converted to alloxanthine with the enzyme xanthine oxidase, and this alloxanthine is more effective inhibitor of this enzyme, that is xanthine oxidase. And the use of certain purine and pyrimidine analogues in cancer therapy is also explained on the basis of suicide inhibition. For instance, like example are 5-fluorouracil gets converted to fluorodeoxyuracilate, which inhibits the enzyme thymidylate synthase, so that it can prevents the nucleotide synthesis. In this way it will act. This is about the suicide. Simple. See, competitive inhibitor binds with the enzyme, but in the suicide, which is reversible. But in when it comes to the suicide inhibition, the competitive inhibitor will convert into the other form, which is binds with the enzyme, so that it the reaction will become irreversible. And some enzyme inhibitions by drugs. Enzymes are natural targets for the development of pharmacological agents, and many of the drugs used in the treatment of diseases act as enzyme inhibitors. For example, cholesterol lowering statin drugs, that is example is lovastatin, which will inhibit the enzyme HMG CoA reductase, so that there is no cholesterol biosynthesis with this drug. The other drugs are tenofovir and emitricitabine, which employed to block the HIV replication, which inhibits the enzyme viral reverse transcriptase. What is the function of reverse transcriptase? Is that the synthesis of DNA from the RNA, that is in the reverse form of transcription occurs, which the enzyme, that reverse transcriptase, is present only in the viruses. So when if we are using the tenofovir and the emitricitabine drugs, this reverse transcriptase enzyme is blocked or inhibited, so that there is no reverse transcription occurs, then there is no replication in the HIV particles. And the other example is that hypertension is often treated by the drugs captopril, enalapril, which inhibits the angiotensin converting enzymes. These are the different drugs which are used for the inhibition of the enzyme. Now we have discussed both reversible inhibition and irreversible inhibition. In the reversible inhibition, if you are removing the inhibitor, the reaction will get proceed. There are two types. One is competitive inhibition, other is non-competitive inhibition. In competitive inhibition, the substrate is analog or structural resembles with the inhibitor and compete with the substrate to bind at the active site of the enzyme. And in the competitive inhibition, Km will increase and Vmax is unchanged. Next is non-competitive inhibition. What happens? The inhibitor can bind either with the free enzyme or with the enzyme substrate complex. And when it is bind with the other site on the enzyme, the substrate cannot bind because there is a structural change in the active site of the enzyme. So in the non-competitive inhibition, Km is unchanged and Vmax is lower, that is the velocity of the rate of the reaction will get decreased. And when it comes to the irreversible inhibition, even if you are removing the inhibitor, then the reaction cannot proceed because it's changing the structure and nature of the enzyme, so that the enzyme cannot bind with the substrate and cannot participate in the reaction to give the product. That's why it is called irreversible reaction. And there are some drugs which can be used for the enzyme inhibition for the treatment of like HIV, cancer, and the low cholesterol lowering statin drugs also can be used. And thank you to all.